talking about fixed and growth mindsets from the perspective of a COVID kid. Throughout the course of our lives, we are forced to deal with issues, and when they come along, it is important to adjust our mindsets based on the circumstances and situations we are faced with. In fact, a healthy mindset is key to our overall health and well-being. A healthy mind includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and affects how we think, feel, and act. It works in unity with our bodies and influences the way we handle stress and relate to others and make choices. Our mindsets are the assumptions and expectations we hold towards ourselves, our lives, and the situations we are put in. Mia Primo, author of Your Powerful Changeable Mindset, which was published by Stanford University, says that mindsets play a significant role in life's outcomes by determining the way we think, feel, and psychologically respond to some situations. Can you please raise your hand if you've ever been in a bad situation and felt like all similar experiences would have a similar outcome? If your hand is raised right now, that could mean that you have a fixed mindset. But why is it so hard to change that fixed mindset? Well, you may have heard the terms fixed and growth mindset before, maybe from a parent, a teacher, or a child. If you believe your qualities are essentially unchangeable or fixed, you become less accepting to making mistakes because setbacks are seen as inherent and impinge on future success. Well, psychological inertia is the tendency to maintain the status quo unless compelled by psychological motive to intervene or reject it. It basically means staying the same unless something mentally forces you to change. I spent a big part of my middle and high school experience feeling not so good about myself and the relationships that I had. I never even questioned that the issue was my mindset, but as I began to learn about how much our mindsets actually affect us, I began to understand why it was so important to have a strong growth mindset. As I share my own experiences today, I want you all to think about a challenge that you are facing and about your own mindsets. To begin, freshman year was definitely a challenging year for me, because not only was I starting high school, I was starting it online and without any of my friends. This meant that I was not only having a hard time academically, but socially too. Instead of trying to fix any issues that I had, I just upset myself over it and just stayed upset over it rather than working on those issues. For example, if I was struggling with something in class, rather than asking my teacher for help, I would spend long amounts of time trying to figure it out and upsetting myself over it. In other occasions, I would sit in my room, upset and dwelling over my challenging friendships rather than working on those relationships. My sophomore year was my reintroduction to in-person school. I, along with the rest of my school, was trying to get comfortable being around each other. I began to re-spark connections with my old friends, yet still felt left out and out of place. Towards the end of my sophomore year, I had a teacher talk to me about this idea of fixed and growth mindset. Hi, Mr. Sturgis, if you're watching this. Mr. Sturgis told me that when I begin the International Baccalaureate program, my fixed mindset needs to turn into a growth mindset, and I was fascinated. I wanted to know what he meant by this, and I just couldn't get this concept out of my head. So like any rational person would, I read, and I read, and I read a bit more. I read all types of books about self-help and about mindsets. During the summer between my sophomore and junior year, I decided that I needed to make a change. I needed to find a way to be okay with being alone sometimes, and I could do this by changing my mindset. I didn't want to continue to base my comfort and my happiness on other people. So I spent my summer reading on the beach, spending time with my family, and I reduced the amount of time on my phone and talking to my friends. This helped me so much that I was able to perform better academically and socially. I was able to build stronger connections with my friends, and I was able to come to terms with the fact that if I don't get along with someone, it is simply because we don't get along, and that it wasn't my fault. My junior year has finally come, and I'm in a place where I can look at so many more situations with a more positive outlook. I feel confident when saying that I can spend a weekend alone and that relaxing and spending time by myself has become essential to my happiness. And all it took was a change in mindset. Out of all the books that I read, the book Mindsets by Carol S. Dweck really stood out to me. What really helped me understand this concept was the examples that the book used. It said that with a fixed mindset, if you have trouble connecting at a social event, you may see this as evidence that you will never be able to socially connect, leading to social anxiety and avoidance. I really related to this. I knew that when I had bad social experiences, I would end up blaming myself rather than evaluating the whole situation. I would tell myself that I wasn't deserving to be around other people and that I should just stop trying. Dweck's book really challenged me to reconsider how I perceive these situations. With a growth mindset, you know that you can change over time and therefore are more accepting to making mistakes. Because failure is less threatening, you are more willing to embrace and grow from life's obstacles. For example, in the scenario above, you might consider that the cause of your social difficulty had more to do with the environment of the event rather than a personal inability to socialize. After finally understanding this concept, I forced myself to look at every single experience through the eyes of someone with a growth mindset. Small experiences and then eventually bigger experiences. And over time, I became the person with the growth mindset rather than the person faking it. Obviously, I'm no professional. I'm a 17-year-old girl who is still learning about the world. But I truly believe that so many things can be solved with a shift in mindset. Even if it can't solve everything, it can make it easier to deal with the challenges that we inevitably face. You might be able to tell that I am quite nervous, and this is because my past experiences with public speaking have not gone well. But here I am trying again and holding tight to my growth mindset, and I am proud of myself. And I hope that the next time you are faced with an obstacle, you are able to overcome it with your own growth mindset, and you are able to be proud of yourself too. Thank you.